from your point of view, how does it benefit a self-employed person or a person with their own agency working with marketing agencies?
Having the pressure of always seeking for new clients, if you can collaborate with an agency, they will kind of find the clients for you. Or
how has social media, likes of Instagram and LinkedIn, how has that helped you?
You can create a video and photo and then you post it and you don't have any clue on it. The easy part is to take a beautiful picture and post that, or hire someone and do an incredible high-end movie. And it's good to have those kind of content as well. But more important is to be able to...
Hi everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Manifesto Talks. We are launching our very own podcast. So you're thinking, why are we launching a podcast? Well, we're very fortunate to work with some incredible people and have some really fascinating clients. So we thought, let's take the opportunity and find out a little bit more about them and how they got to where they are today. So welcome. So for the first guest on our podcast, I'm very, very happy to welcome John Fornander, the founder of Fornander Media, not only a very good friend, but one of the most important collaborators that Manifesto has when it comes to content creation. So the idea is we're going to get a little bit of background about John, why videography, how the passion started, and maybe we can get some cool insights into what the trends for 2025 are going to be and why he took the transition to starting strategic content creation. John, welcome to the podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. So for us on the coast, you've become pretty well known, right? Everyone I speak to is starting to know about John, what he does, how good he is at it. We thought to take this chance to really get where it all began, understand. Recently, you've worked with some great brands, AG1, for example, Ghost, right, which is a huge global protein company for people that don't know. But I want to find out a little bit more about you to start with. So why videography? Why photography? How did it start? Where did the passion come from?
Yeah, I would say my first ever starting with photography was probably iPhone 5. Starting like playing around at home. Then I got more into it. I wanted something better. I wished like an upcoming Christmas. I was hoping to get a better camera, like this Canon 600D. And I got that, and then started playing around more, but really basic, like everything on auto, like not really like on my taking pictures of my mother's horses or like flowers and this type of things. But then when I started university at 2017, there was like a media journalist school, but I was studying finance and marketing. And in there they had like this rental gear center, and that you can have the opportunity to like borrow equipment like for the weekends. I started to borrow cameras and like more professional, like high-end stuff. And then I realized, there's so much difference between the things that I have used before. And like, I see these pictures on Instagram, like, how do you do this? Or like, how do you do that video and stuff like that? And then I was seeing like a way better result with this high end. And then I bought my first camera, and then I started doing things on the side, more by helping friends, but not really a professional level. Yeah, so then when I quit university, I didn't get any job that I was hoping for within marketing. But then I got my first photography work, and it was a school photographer. So I was like driving around whole Sweden, taking pictures of like the classes and stuff like that by myself. It was a tough job. It was like decent salary, but it was nothing that I really was passionate for. But at least it was something with a camera, at least. Yeah. And then I did that for a season, and then I had a couple of friends who started a nutrition company. And then they offered me to start working with them for like 50%. So I moved to Stockholm, and then I was helping them to do like every time they launch a new product, like it's within supplements or protein powder or pre-workout or there's this kind of things. I was doing videos and photos to promote them like every month and stuff like that. So that was my main client.
So how does John in Stockholm end up John moving to Marbella? How did that transition happen?
Yeah, so it was because of that company. So when the pandemic came, we like, we don't need to work in Sweden because this online business is based like online, so we don't need this to Stockholm. And then we saw this, I think, on Idealista or something, like this massive house in Las Brisas for like 3K for a whole month, like every month. And then we were like 7 people that moved there and paid like 400 euros per month.
Right.
So we went there and we spent 3 months there. And then since I was just starting out and I didn't have any portfolio, any like contacts or network in Stockholm, I feel it was hard to break through and to like reach clients because I wasn't any special and I didn't have any experience. So then it was when I was in Marbella, I was be able to reach out to companies and offer them like seasonal-based content, like based here in Marbella. So I was reaching out doing like swimwear or these kind of things that they couldn't do in Sweden. So then I got way higher like response. So then I figured, like, okay, this is really something like compared to in Stockholm, I didn't have so much to be unique of. So then I started pushing that. And then after 3 months, they went back home. But then I said, okay, I'm gonna stay 1 more month, and then another one, and then I'm here 4 years. And then I remember after that summer, I earned like maybe 3 times more, like on my own clients rather than working with them. So then it makes more sense to quit with them and just to go full time on my own. And then of course in the beginning here in Marbella, I was doing all sort of things, shooting for restaurants, hotels, everything I could get of. Later on, I was focusing more on bigger clients or less client, but bigger projects like that. In the beginning, I was just running around everywhere and didn't have time for anything else.
To let everyone understand exactly the style of content you do, and you can more than welcome to correct me on probably what my opinion is of you, because that is probably what the base understanding is. For me, it would be you've become the go-to for either product launches or lifestyle content. Now, obviously, when we see your work, and we'll get onto it later on, your LinkedIn, your social media stuff, it's called and it's becoming a trigger word, strategic content creation. What for you does that mean?
Yeah. So for me, it is like you can create a video and photo and then you post it and you don't have any clue on it. So before I create something for a client, I want to know where you're going to use it, what are you going to use it for, like what is your target audience, like what is the main purpose, what is the result that you're trying to achieve with this. So I'm trying to give them the best result as possible. Otherwise, you're just shooting in the dark. You don't know like what to aim for.
That's it. I think for us, the difficulty is always making sure that the value of what you provide actually turns into a bit more of a long-term view. So the idea being that one piece of content can be used over different platforms, chopped up into different formats. And I think the difficulty is maybe you probably spend a lot of time probably educating people about what they genuinely need compared to what they initially think. Have you seen any difference, any change? Obviously here in Marbella, there's a huge influence in terms of the real estate market. Is that something that you get involved with, or is that something you've steered clear of for any reason?
Real estate?
Yeah.
I was doing a lot when I was starting out, but mostly like property photos and like house tours and stuff like that. But then I really got tired of it because that is kind of like robotic. You just take a picture in the corner like that. Of course, you can be like passion for it and it's amazing houses, but I wanted some more creativity. Just don't do photos, videos, and that's it of the villa. So then I stepped down from doing that and focusing more on like strategic content, but within like lifestyle in usually like e-commerce brands and stuff like that.
Is that product photography, or is it you are creating content where the product is in use, for example? So when you're working with a trainer company, are you creating content of the product in terms of photography when you see it on a website, or is it you're actually creating the content that people are going to connect with and see the product in use?
Yeah, usually like that we've been focused on the last like years is creating content where the target like consumer is seen in the video. So like if you're aiming to in real estate, for example, if you're selling a house, and usually maybe for the most clients is like 50-year-olds or in this area, you will arrange to create these lifestyle videos with like 50-year-old people, I guess, with like this kind of models, and then you will create a lifestyle that you hope that. So when they're watching these videos, like, oh, I want to have a life like this, and then they will interact, and then they get excited about the content like that.
To add value, so let's give somebody thinking about investing in terms of their video for their own company. have you got any key points that they should think about before even contacting? So, for example, would you say they need to understand their core audience? Is that the biggest thing? Is it really important to understand the expectation of what this content can provide? Are there things that you find that when people come to you, they genuinely ask and they should be thinking about before the process even starts?
Yeah. And most, I would say, like, what is the main purpose? Is it some people want to create videos to create ads, and that's totally different because it's going to have a really fast pace. So you want to have some animations or text over it to like really bring the message through. Sometimes maybe you want a cool video just to look cool, like to bring more awareness for your website and so on. It doesn't really need to make so much sense. It's usually people just want to have like quickly understand the product and it looks cool, kind of. And then you can also create more social media to make more engaging content, to make people like, you can follow trends in social media, use trendy audios, and like really keep it engaging with the content.
I want to dig into your own brand, Fornander Media. Okay, I've known you now for just over 2 years. You were one of the first people that I probably had contact with when I got into to Manifesto. And I would say that over the 2 years, that the brand itself, you as a brand, has substantially grown. I think you're a fantastic follow on LinkedIn for anyone that is interested in strategic content creation, whether that's starting out or for your own company. I definitely would be giving John a follow. How has social media, likes of Instagram and LinkedIn, how has that helped you? Have you seen that effort that you put in to creating content, has that had an ROI? Have clients contacted you from that?
Yeah, I would say the switch were like a couple of years ago. I just saw my Instagram page. It's like I took a picture of myself in a beautiful on the beach, and it's like in the end, like my purpose now is just to gain more clients, and doesn't make sense to have a picture of me drinking coffee at the beach or something like that. So then I switched. So I always want to have some. When I post something, I want to give some value or some kind of show my work or some connection to my work. I don't want to post like a beach picture or something like that. So then I switch my mindset through that, and then figure out like, okay, who I want to reach. Usually I want to get in contact with marketing agencies or like marketing managers in companies. And usually if I post like a picture on Instagram, maybe I will not reach them. And what is the best way to reach them? Usually it's LinkedIn, because there is where the decisions maker like is hanging around. And then can you also filter like your searches. So you can filter, for example, if I want to connect with the marketing managers in Marbella, I can just type in Marbella marketing managers and I'll get all of them there, like connect with all of them. And then of course, you don't want to be the sales guy that you like start texting them directly. But if you're just adding them and having them as a friend
and view your profile and let that do the talking.
Exactly.
I think that's massive. Something you touched on there was agencies.
Yeah.
So, throwing it back to when we first spoke, I contacted you because at Manifesto at the time we didn't have an in-house videographer. So I saw your stuff and I thought, look, there has to be a synergy, a way that we can work together that benefits both, of course. Now, moving 2 years down the line, I probably thought we'd have done more projects together.
Yeah,
but what I think was really clear was how a collaborator can work with an agency. I think when we first met, I would say almost chaotic, no? And it took us probably a year to understand how we could best get the brief so that then you can understand what's involved and then allow us talking industry, B2B, quote us so that then we can work out the best way of moving forward with the client. For us, it's hugely beneficial to work with external people because not only do you bring the skills, you bring the expertise in terms of having worked with a variety of brands in different nationalities. From your point of view, how does it benefit a self-employed person or a person with their own agency working with marketing agencies?
Yeah, like one thing is if you are starting out, is always, instead of you like having the pressure of always seeking for new clients, if you can collaborate with an agency, they will kind of find the clients for you, or they will already have this like roster with clients already, so that you can, so if you collaborate with one agency, you can get 20 clients together with them. So that's huge, like if you're starting out.
Yeah. All right. What would be your biggest tip for somebody that's looking to get into what you do, get into the industry of creating strategic content and building their own client database?
First of all, just get as much experience as possible. Like you can just ask a local, like a coffee place, you can make content for them, or like when you start out, it's hard to know what you like the most. So I guess try the most different thing as possible. And then later on, like me, I found out that I prefer doing this lifestyle content and usually for e-commerce brands. And then just double down on that. And for example, if you want to shoot real estate and you only have like car pictures on your profile, no one's going to hire you. So if you want to shoot real estate and no one is hiring you for real estate, maybe ask like a friend of yours, hey, can I shoot your apartment? Can I shoot your house? Because then you have something to show or prove that.
Yeah,
exactly.
So in your opinion, what do you think are going to be some of the trends in 2025?
Of course, like AI is a still thing and is growing a lot. But besides that, what I've seen more and more now is people, instead of making like a short video, they make short movies instead. Like I've seen so many now for Black Friday. Instead of posting Black Friday, they make so much effort and work into make an actual like short movie that is maybe 2-3 minutes long, launch it on YouTube, so you can feel more towards the brand. If you just see an ad Black Friday, you don't care that much. But if you see a short movie and you invest watching maybe 2 minutes in this brand, you will like have so much like feeling, or it's more likely they will invest in the brand if you know more about it. So I think actually making more like high quality stuff, and like of course UGC content is always going to be really like good for converting for money and stuff, but building the brand, I think short movies is going to be really big and going bigger.
So what we see at Manifesto is that a lot of companies, agency, they almost have a bit of a analysis by paralysis. So they think that they need you to be able to do any sort of content, whether that's their morning coffee or whether that's the high level cinematic content. At what point do you think that it is necessary for you to come in, and what are the sort of things that they can do themselves on the latest iPhone?
Yeah, I would say like now personal content is more and more like important, because rather than buying from a brand, you want to buy from a person, or like that's why so many like owners from brands today is more like the biggest influencer of the brand. It's not the brand itself, but it's more the owner, so you follow the whole process. So I would say try to be as personal as you can with your own stuff. So like someone like me couldn't be there all day, but with your phone you can share like, today we're doing this and this is some behind the scenes from this process. Or like if you work in you're building a house, okay, now we just put the windows up, and like you can follow this personal story. But still I would say try to hold some kind of like level to it. Like if you're not really good at, like, try to watch YouTube or learn something how to use your phone properly, and just put it on like these horrible filters and stuff like that. But have some intention with it, at least, if you learn something. And then when you feel like we have now a budget for it, or we want to invest in building our brand, because if you go into a page and everything is just personal iPhone content, you wouldn't think they, like, back to real estate again. If you will go to a real estate firm and everything is just iPhone, you don't think they will be able to maybe to handle maybe a higher client to buy a house in Sagaleta or something like that. That's why you see all these the biggest companies here. They're investing huge amount of money of this house source and YouTube and stuff like that, and also then they portray as a high-end luxury real estate company. So then we'll also attract those kind of clients. So if you only do iPhone, you will also maybe just attract another like younger and maybe another sort of audience.
I think for us as the agency, there's always the battle of the wonderful house tours, selling the lifestyle, but then genuinely, does that make a difference to the end buyer? So what I'm trying to get at is, at what point does so much of this cinematic content be created that people almost become numb to it? Do you think people need to approach it from a different level, or let's talk about Marbella? Would you say that it's waiting for somebody to come along and do something different? Is there anything that you've seen that you've thought, I like the way they do it, or there's a niche here, or drop us a little insight where it might be that if you can do that, you can separate yourselves from the crowd? Because I do feel like, and now more than ever as we go through Instagram, everyone's being less impressed with another Ferrari, another €9 million villa, because everyone is almost creating the same sort of content. They just may have their way of doing it. Is there anything that you think nobody's doing this?
Nothing specifically like that, but I think it's like the easy part is to take a beautiful picture and post that, or hire someone and do an incredible like high-end movie. And it's good to have those kind of content as well. But more important is to be able to some way like portray your personality like through the audio, like through social media or wherever you're posting, to make them buy from a person. So it's much harder to bring your personality through social media and then showing a beautiful property, and not so much like when a person is presenting the house, it's not very personal. You can have an AI just saying, this is the villa, this is the plot, blah, blah. So more personal stuff, more, I would say, more raw. And I think that's coming more and more as well, too.
Well, John, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been our first ever podcast, and I'm sure that you will be on again, and it'll be a lot smoother. There'll be a few more questions, and we'll both do it a million times better. But we had to start somewhere, and it's an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you coming on and joining me. And it goes without saying, follow John on all of his social media. And like I said, he is a great follow on LinkedIn when it comes to industry insights and seeing what he does on a day-to-day basis. Thank you so much for coming, John. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.